Hello, everybody, and welcome to Breaking Through the Brick Walls. This is an interview series that I started so that you can get a glimpse of life on and off camera with a business owner and get strategic business puzzle pieces that you can put into action to help you grow your own business. And this is kind of where we hang out, just to be authentic and share a piece of real life. So today I'm talking with Kathryn Ford Richter, and Kathryn is a self-care and mindset coach and an RN. She helps entrepreneurs and other professional women create a thriving life and a sustainable business by learning to prioritize and integrate more self-care. She helps women learn to manage their energy and calendars, as well as shifting their mindset towards self-love and putting their needs first without feeling guilty. So it really is her mission to help women be happy and healthy and more successful, and that results in a massive ripple effect into the world. I'm Pamela Lewerenz, the Brick Wall Coach. I'm a business consultant that coaches Gen X solopreneurs how to create actionable plans for their success and to stay focused on all the things there are to do with running a business. And I am so excited to be talking with Kathryn today, and she's going to share so much with us. So welcome, Kathryn.
Thanks, Pam. Thanks for having me. It's so nice to be here.
I know. I am super, super excited that we get to connect again. It's been a while.
Yes, too long.
Yeah. So why don't we just kick it off with having you tell us a little bit more about yourself, the face behind your business.
Ooh, the face behind my business. That's such a great question. I think for me, I really just wanted to create a life that I could thrive. I looked around at all the nurses and no one was thriving. And I thought, I want to thrive. I want more out of life. And, my husband and I live in Rhode Island, where we were just talking before we started the live about in the summertime, it's beautiful and we love it. And we're right across from the water and we jump on our paddle boards and we just spend a lot of time outside. And I currently have my fireplace on today because it's about 50 degrees and cold. That was really what I wanted, was to create a life where I can thrive, where I can be my true self, which is really to just get out there, be in nature, hang out, have an impact on people around me. And I've always just, really just wanted to help people. And so that's kind of what I'm here for, is just figuring it all out as I go and
like so many
honest about it.
Just figuring it out as you go along,
Well, and I think that's just it. Like, I never claim to have all the answers, right? Like, people don't hire me because I'm perfect, right? People hire me because they're like, oh, she's been there and she's moved past it. She's grown. She has a lot of examples and she has a lot of experience that she's talking from, that she can actually help me because she's done it too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did you transition? How did you move from the world of nursing over to having your own business?
Yeah, good question. So I initially was working in the hospital as a nurse and went in Colorado, super burnt out. That's what really led me to end up where I am today. But once my husband and I got married, we missed my family and wanted to be closer. So we moved to Mass, and I was working as a school nurse, and I got an email in my box one day and it was about become a nurse coach. And I was like, wait, tell me more. What is this coaching? I know nothing about coaching. Fast forward, I took a 9-month coaching program. I was working in a school and it was a very conducive environment when it was quiet, that I could really, study and practice my skills and my coaching skills on the kids. And so when we decided to buy a house in Rhode Island a year and a half ago, I had been working part-time on my business, working 4 days a week as a school nurse, and then doing, a day in some evenings working on my business, to coming down here. So now it's pretty much full-time. I still do a little bit of nursing on the side. But for me, it was really honestly just a jump. It was a jump that I had to say, I don't know, but scary and it's exciting. And I just knew that it was my passion and that when I was working with more clients, that it was making more of an impact. And so I took the leap, and it was scary, but it's panned out really well. And I have no complaints. It's really wonderful. But, there are days that are scary and I wonder, oh my God, is this right? Right? I mean, do you still have those moments?
I have those moments every week.
Right?
Oh my gosh. So tell us about, some of the problems you solve for your clients, or what it looks like to work with clients.
Yeah. Clients hire me because, well, I have multiple different types of clients, but they all really boil down to the same. So whether there's someone that wants to grow their own business, whether they're just a professional, and I shouldn't say just a professional, but not owning their own business, but that they're just not thriving, that they're living this life day in and day out, serving everybody else but themselves, and really just feeling exhausted. And thinking, gosh, is this my life? Right? Is this really my life? Is this all that there is? And so people hire me to help them to focus on themselves again, to really do a total 180 and to say, you know what? Yes, you're a natural caregiver. Yes, you focus on everyone else but yourself. You can still do that, but do it in a way that's sustainable and supportive to you.
Yeah.
Right. So it's really about learning the tools, which includes the mindset, right? The mindset shift away from feeling guilty all the time, about making time for yourself, about, stepping away from making other people and other things your priority and making that be about you.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of work that has to be done for that. But I really help women to understand that when they make that shift, right, and they start to take these actions towards putting themselves first, their physical needs, their spiritual needs, their emotional needs, financial, nutritional, all these other pieces, that they start to see the impact that it has on all areas of their life. And so we do a lot of work holistically around all the aspects of life, because I think that what's so important is that looking at the whole picture, right? Not just one aspect. And I really help women to come back to their center, to see who they really were meant to be, to live a happy life, to be thriving, to really, feel good on all those areas. So energetically, they have more to give. I think that's really what it's about. Otherwise, we're giving from this empty place. It's not sustainable. And then we wonder, why you get sick or run down or, God forbid, a disease, all stress related.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. Well, in full disclosure, Kathryn and I worked together, back in, I want to say it was early 2016.
16, I think.
2016.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I mean, she really helped me focus on that part of my life that I had truly just kind of swept to the side. I was so busy just living a life, and started to question exactly what I was doing and why I was doing it, just in life overall, not just in my business, but everything, personal aspect and relationships. And, I mean, at that time I was an elected official and questioning whether I should continue on with that or really take a step back. So that was a lot of work. That was a lot of work.
But totally worth it.
Totally worth it. Totally worth it. I mean, I would not be where I am today, having made that move from Connecticut down to South Carolina without that guidance, without talking to you and really starting to pull everything apart and prioritizing things that were important to me for a change, instead of, I have to do this for this one. It's important to do this for this particular one. Oh, I have to be here for this one. And just kind of taking that step back and putting the focus on myself again. So it was really hard, but really good work. Exactly what I needed.
It was an honor. And hey, here we are. And I think that's just it. You're such a great example that you may have been scared, right? To work
Totally.
to work on yourself, to step up. And what does that look like? But I think that oftentimes there's a lot of things that we hold back from because we're scared of the outcome. But it's like, well, is what you're doing really that great that you're willing to take the risk to see what's behind the curtain and on the other side? And I think that's just it, is that once you decide to make that decision, okay, I need support, I want to make a change in my life, it's like, oh my goodness, why did I wait so long?
I know.
Right? Right? That's what a lot of my clients say.
Amazing over here.
Why did I wait? And so I think it's just it's just so wonderful to hear you say that, and really thank you so much for saying that. But it was really all you. And I think that's a really cool thing about what coaching is. People are like, what is coaching? I don't even know, right? And it's like, I had one woman hire me.
Guidance.
Oh yeah, like a little over a year ago or something. And she said, Kathryn, I've wanted to work with you for a really long time, but I didn't want to hire you because I didn't want you to tell me what I needed to do.
Yeah.
I didn't want you to tell me that I needed to leave my job.
And you know what? You don't tell anybody to do anything. It's as you start to do that work, it all kinds of falls into place. It's all got its own slot, and you start really looking at it in a way that never before have you. For me, I did a lot of that self-reflective work back in like the late 80s and early 90s when my kids were little, and I was trying to learn how to juggle working full time, raising these kids, running a household, being a spouse, trying to stay as a daughter and a friend and all the other little pieces that were in there. And I did a really good job, but the minute I took my focus off of it, my life just went in a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think that's just it, is I think it's important to note that so many women wear so many different hats. And how do you make that a sustainable role, right? Because you're on the hamster wheel and you're going. And it's like you don't even notice until you stop, right? And then you stop and it's like, ugh, right? It's exhausting. And you think, how the hell am I going to keep doing this for another 5 years, 10 years, right? Like what if it's your parent and your kids, your kids go off to school or, whatever it is. And I think that's just it, is it's really being able to take a step back, to look at it from a different perspective, a different lens, not just the survival mode of day in and day out. That's your just habitual life, but to really step back and see, well, what is really happening?
Yeah.
What
really is it that you really, putting in what you really enjoy? I mean, life is a journey and it's everything that you make it, but you want to be happy along the way. You don't want to just wake up 20 or 30 years later and go, wow, that was my career and my kids are now all raised. And now what the heck is going on? Like somehow that gets lost because it's an everyday rat race. That's what I tell everybody. It really is. It's like you get up, you do what you have to do, you prepare dinner, you go back to bed. It's like every day it's a cycle, and you don't want it to be like that. You want to be able to take time to enjoy all those moments. And literally, I take time to stop and smell the roses now. It's so funny because we'll be on walks or hikes and I'll be like, oh, look, flowers or a rose. Let's take a minute to stop and literally look at that beauty that's around us. Or, taking time to read every day. That's on my schedule now. Like I chunk off 30 minutes of read time. Sometimes it's 60 minutes, but to me, that's huge because before, years went by and I didn't crack open a book. And for me to say that was horrible because I was a huge reader and I love to read, but I didn't make the time.
Right. And you probably could just come up with a million reasons why.
No.
And they were all legitimate reasons. And I think that's what's really important to note, right, is that everybody in their lives are so busy and everything that you're doing is important. It's all valid. But yes, the laundry needs to be done. And yes, you want to clean your house and the dishes and, rides and whatever. Whether you have kids, you don't have kids. I don't have kids. So I'll be really honest, like those are not struggles that I have. Yeah. But whatever your life looks like for anyone that's out there listening, whether you have kids, you don't have kids, they live with you, they don't live with you, you own a business, you don't, life is busy no matter what you're doing, whether you own a business or don't. And the point here, I think, is that no matter what you're doing, it's so, so, so important that whatever that looks like for you, right? Everyone's different, but that you're taking that time. Because I think you're right. Life does go by really quickly. And, my grandmother just turned 92 last week. And I thought, man, and listening to her stories and looking at her life and thinking, wow, time really flies. And what is the legacy that I want to leave behind?
Yes.
Right? And I think that's just it's like, what do I really want to say? And I think that when you're able to step away from the guilt of like, oh, I should be, and really say, what do I want from my life? Right? I don't want to be overweight. I don't want to feel unhealthy. I don't want to be exhausted all the time. I don't want to be taking care of everyone else. I want to go to bed at night and feel excited to wake up in the morning, not dreading having to do the same thing over and over again. Right? And so I think it's really just looking at your life, and you might not be able to quit your job and take your dream job, right? But I have a couple of women that I worked with, and what they learned, they both worked for the same companies. That was interesting, but they both were in sales, and they were in the top of their group. And what they learned was, well, this might not be my ideal job, but what I'm learning is that it's creating an opportunity for me to be able to do the things that I want to do. Right. I can create my own schedule somewhat. I have the finances and the resources to then do the things that I want to do, travel, have my hobbies, right? And so sometimes it's just flipping the lens in which you're looking at your circumstances to say, okay, well, this might not be my dream job, but look at what it allows me to do. Right. And so I think that it's those little shifts that it's useful to have a coach. Like, I'm just here holding up the mirror, right? Yeah. Asking questions, saying, have you ever looked at it this way? Oh my goodness, no. Right? Mm-hmm. So she's like, I hate my career. I want to move, blah, 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 blah. Now she's like, wait a minute. Over time, okay, I might not love it, but look what it's allowing me to do. And as a result, now I'm creating time to volunteer. Now I'm creating time to travel. Now I'm creating time for hobbies, right? To learn to cook. So,
and that's what it is. I mean, we all have the same amount of time in every day. It's just how you choose to spend it. And I know a lot of people ask me, oh, what did you do on Mother's Day? What was, what made it a special day? And I thought it made it a special day because I literally read for hours. I laid on the couch and I watched a movie. It doesn't sound like a huge deal, but it was to me because I could do whatever I wanted all day long and without interruptions, without feeling guilty, without saying, wow, I just laid on the couch and watched a movie for 2 hours. Like, I would never have given myself permission to do that 5 years ago. And it just felt really good. It felt really good.
And I think that when you can start to see that when you do that more, again, whether it's the luxury of an entire day or whether it's nuggets throughout the day, but when you start to see the impact that it has on your life and all the different areas of your life, when you're able to start to do that and allow yourself to focus on yourself, to give yourself permission, to give yourself the attention, whether it's to do something that's supportive, that's an action, like walking or being in nature or reading a book or nothing, maybe meditating or napping, but that it all counts and it's all refilling your cup. And I think that when you can shift that, it makes a really huge difference, but sometimes people I think we just need the nudge, right? The nudge of the permission that it's okay to do that, and look at what happens when you do. You're actually more clear-headed and you can show up better for yourself, for your family, for your coworkers, your business, whatever it is. But people just need a little nudge.
A little. A little.
Sometimes a huge kick in the ass, right? But sometimes, there's a spectrum and you're on it somewhere. And I think that's the thing is it's like when people work with me, it's like you talked about being authentic. That's just it. You get the real me. The real me, and people say all the time, they're like, Kathryn, I met you and you're exactly the same online as you are in person. And I was like, yeah, I'm not going to blow smoke up your ass. I'm not a multimillionaire. I didn't like decide to launch a business and then like 3 months later I was like killing it, you
Yeah.
know, and I think that's just it. And I think that that's what's so important is that to be authentic is really like to show all sides,
Yes.
the good and the bad, right? I'm not perfect. Life isn't perfect,
No.
right? But to be really honest and authentic and genuine and to step into that and to share that and to create the permission for other people, for other women to do the same.
Yeah.
Because there are other people out there that get it, right?
Yeah.
You're not alone. You don't have to put on the face because how
No.
much energy is that sucking?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. So now as you shifted your business from part-time to full-time, what have been some of those struggles or those hurdles that you've come face to face with that you've had to just kind of take that step back and say, I'm going to have to look at that a little bit.
Yeah. You know, the biggest thing for me that I found is that I felt like my clients were coming in these waves and it'd be like, oh, I have all these clients at one time. And then it would be like, oh, and now I'm down to a few, right? And it felt very secular. And I thought, okay, how interesting. And how can I use that to learn to figure out if I know that about myself and if I know that about my business, then what can I do in the meantime?
Right, right.
In those cycles of those lulls, right? And so part of it was, okay, what I've learned about myself is that I serve. I'm here to serve. I've always been a helper. I've been that way since I was a little kid. I was always a caregiver. That's why I became a nurse. And so I used to make it mean something like, oh, if I have to work a shift here and there because I don't have clients that day, so why wouldn't I just go out and work, right? But that meant that I was failing. It meant that I was failing as a business person. It meant that somehow I wasn't a good coach, right? That I made like all these crazy stories. And so to anybody that's out there trying to grow a business, I want to say that's not the case at all. Growing a business takes time,
No.
right? You have to have a lot of skills, right? I know I'm an excellent coach. What I didn't realize was that I didn't really know anything about marketing. I didn't really know much about, getting out there, talking to people, networking, what you don't realize is the back end,
Yeah.
right? And so I have learned a ton and I'm so proud of myself for how far I've come and how much I've accomplished. Having said that, I know it's still just the tip of the iceberg. So, I think for like I said, for me personally, I would say that I learned that when I was low and I didn't have a lot of clients, that meant that I needed to create some cool offerings. And that meant that maybe I would teach a yoga class or I would offer a yoga retreat, or I would go out and I would work a couple of days and know that that was just another tool, another way that I was helping and serving people. And that it didn't mean anything about who I was as a business person. It meant, and this was something that I learned with working with my recent coach, is that he was like, a business person, a really good business person, a really good entrepreneur is someone that doesn't give a shit. I hope we can swear, it's okay, right? About what you have to do to make money. And you'll go out and if you have to get a job and work a couple of days a week just to be able to support you in your business while you're learning and growing and paying a VA and paying marketing people and paying these different people, then you do it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now that I can own that, and I'll be really honest, like that's like a pretty recent thing to own. It's like suddenly things have shifted for me and all this energy and all this stress and all this pressure that I put on myself, that somehow it had to be perfect and look a certain way and be a certain way. I've really allowed myself to just let it flow. Yeah. And as a result, clients just show up.
They do. Exactly.
And people said that, you'd like read in the book, right? It's like, making badass and making money or like, whatever book. It's like law of attraction. And I was like, yeah. And then it was like, wait a minute, this whole mindset thing, there was a truth to it.
Yes.
But you have to live it and figure it out on your own. You can't, you can read as many books or whatever, but until you actually do it, it won't work.
And it can be literally years that you're in business, not to discourage anybody, but I mean, literally you can be in business for years and you're going to have that lull time. You're going to have times where you're like, I have to get creative and figure out what I can do
Mhm.
to create a more static flow. And it happens. I mean, it happens, especially when you're in the online space. You can have super great weeks or super great days. And then other days it's like, hello, is anyone out there? And,
Mhm.
and it can be super scary. But like you said, you surround yourself with positive people. You surround yourself with those people that are going to give you all those little gold nuggets to fill in. There's people out there that are skilled at marketing. There's people that are out there that are, they each have their own little niche, and they're there to support you as much as you are to support them. And you kind of help each other through this little journey we're calling building a business. That's what it comes down to. And things
Absolutely.
change all the time. What you knew as marketing 6 months ago is not what marketing looks like now. So you need somebody who keeps up on marketing, and you have to have somebody who specializes in that for you to take your focus off of your business and learn all about marketing. Why? You're not a marketing
Mhm.
expert.
Well, and I think that's just it. And again, for a long time, I was like, oh, I can do it. I'll do it. I'll do it. And then I was inconsistent.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, okay, I've learned that about myself. I've learned that there are things that I'm going to do well and things I don't do well. And so I just hired somebody
Yeah.
because the truth is there are certain things I don't want to do. Right. And that's okay.
Yeah.
And I think that that's just it, is it's like giving yourself permission. That's like, if you don't want to do it and you know you're not going to do it, be honest about it.
Yeah.
Right? Like there are people out there that, if money is an issue, that you can work a trade, or that you can, whatever, you can figure things out, you can get creative. But I think one of the things that's so important, and I think we need to just mention here, is the idea of like, that you have to acknowledge and be really honest about where you are in your life and in your business. Because I think there's so many people out there that are blowing smoke up people's butts, but really they're just like freaking out on the inside and not doing well. And so I think that when you can be honest and say, like, this is where I'm doing really well and this is where I need some support, right? This is where I need to grow. This is where I need to learn, whether that looks like hiring other people to help you, again, whether it's a trade, whatever. I'm in a mastermind. So I'm in a group with other business owners that happens to be women, but other women in all different areas of business. And we all just share our wins and we share our struggles and we learn from one another.
Yeah.
But you have to be able to own what's really happening to then be able to say, okay, this is what's really going on and this is where I need support.
Yeah. I mean,
And
you
that's
can't
hard for
go
people.
through all of this and say, oh, I never have a struggle. I have $10,000 weeks, week after week after week, and I'm just the most successful thing ever. And that's probably 1% or less of the people. Right. It's real. This is real. And just because you say, oh, I want to open up this business and do this thing, you have to wear multiple hats, but that doesn't mean that you know how to do or what to do with all those multiple hats on. Sometimes it's just worth shoving them off and saying, okay, look, I just need help with this. Do the marketing piece for me, or, please help me with these forms, or whatever it looks like, because it's a lot of work.
Well, and what's so funny that I'm glad that you said that. I honestly thought that. I honestly thought when I said to people, hey guys, this is what I'm doing now, I literally thought I would be full.
Yeah.
And that wasn't coming from this place of ego. I genuinely was like, people know me, they like me, they trust me, they know I'm real, they know I can help them. Why aren't they showing up?
Yeah.
Right? But it's not about me. It's not about how I can help them. It's helping them to see that it's okay to need that, right? So many people have said, oh, I wanted to reach out, but I was scared. I didn't want to admit it. I didn't want to acknowledge it. I thought I could fix it, right?
Yeah.
I thought it somehow meant something about me, right? Another person was like, oh, I've really wanted to hire someone to help me in my business for a long time. But again, I thought it meant that I was a failure. It's like,
exactly.
Oh, no. Now that I have hired someone, to help me with, I hired a VA, to help me with the back end stuff, right? Now I can focus on what I want to be doing, which is coaching, which is helping people. And how much am I really helping somebody if I'm like trying to figure out some back office financial thing or, you know, managing my QuickBooks, right? I'm not
Yes.
helping anybody.
Right. They have people that specialize in those things.
Right.
Exactly. But it is hard. It is hard. And I think that's what it is for a lot of people is they hear that. It resonates with them. They're like, oh my gosh, you know, I really want to have that. Like my accountability that I offer to people. They really want that. They know that that's a great thing to get into, but they're afraid to do it in a lot of ways, a lot of reasons, because they think, well, then she's going to know that I need accountability. Big deal. I need accountability too. That's why I created this thing. It's perfect. You know, everybody does. It's just, yeah, you just have to let go of all that other, and you know, there's a lot. Yeah. Yeah. There are so many voices all telling you things.
Well, and I think that's just it. And you're so right. And we all need accountability, you know, and I can't tell you how many people say, Kathryn, I didn't want to hire you because what if I failed?
Yeah.
And a lot of people say, I wasn't sure I'd be successful. I didn't want to let you down.
Yeah.
Right. I didn't want to let myself down. And that's a really honest fear.
A really honest.
What if I hire you and nothing changes?
Yeah.
That might happen.
Yep.
But the reality is, if you're willing and dedicated to show up, to invest in yourself, you're willing to invest the time, the energy, the money to do it, you'll show up.
Yes.
You have to be ready. And whatever that looks like for people. But I think that's just it, we're the reminders, we're the cheerleaders, right? We're here to hold you accountable because we all need it too.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, I love this. I love this. I think this has been great. I loved catching up with you. Do you have anything else you want to share that we didn't cover that you're like, I have to make sure I tell them this?
Oh my goodness. I feel like I could talk for hours, honestly. You know, I think the biggest thing is it's like, you know, there's so many reasons why people decide not to invest in themselves and in their businesses for whatever reason, right? Out of fear, or again, that you're going to be a failure, that someone might think something, there's going to be a judgment, right? That you can do it on your own. But I just want to say, just stop and take a breath. You know, just stop and take a breath. Really take a hard look at what's going on in your life. Are you really happy? Are you really saying that you can look at your life and say, I'm happy with my body. I'm happy with my partner. I'm happy with my kids, my job, my energy. I'm really in this space. I'm definitely serving. I'm making a difference. And if the answer is no, then it's absolutely okay. And I absolutely recommend to reach out to someone to whether it's a coach or someone that can help support you, because the reality is that when you do that and you make that decision to invest in yourself and to make a change, you can't unknow something, right? Once you've seen something, you can't unsee it. And so once you see what's wrong, or not what's wrong, because we make it mean something about us, right? But once you've seen where you want things to shift and be different, you'll stop at nothing to get that, because now you can see, I've said, hey, try on my lenses. You can see what's possible, and then you want that. And then the more you get more of those things, you start to feel better. Notice, oh my goodness, my kids say I'm showing up better. My partner's saying I'm different. Oh my goodness, clients are showing up out of the woodwork, whatever it is, right? It's just give yourself the permission to take the step. Stop focusing on what's way out there, right? We're only here right now in this moment, right? The fear is around not knowing what's next. But if you just stay right here, present in the moment, and say, this is what I want in my life. I don't have it yet. I don't know how to get it. Therefore, I'm going to have somebody help me to figure it out. I guarantee I have never once had someone say, wow, I wish I never hired you.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Just like as a yoga teacher, no one's ever said, wow, I wish I never came to this yoga class. Right?
Yeah.
But sometimes everyone just needs that push. So just to remember, just to remind yourself, it's okay to focus on you. you'll actually have a much bigger impact on how you can help other people around you and those in your sphere when you're actually showing up and recharging your energy. You have more to give for everyone else. So if you're not willing to do it for yourself, do it for those around you until you can start to practice and learn that you actually are worth it.
Yeah. Great advice.
Yeah.
Great advice. Oh my gosh. All right. Let me see. So I think that's going to end our time together. And I want to thank you for showing up and being here, not only for me, but for everybody else, because your message is really powerful and something everybody can use. Definitely. Oh my goodness. Thank you so much. Thank you to everybody else who joined us for, another episode of this Breaking Through Your Brick Walls. We all do it. And just remember, every day is a good day to be you. You're amazing. Don't forget it. Now go out and rock that business. And we'll see you on another episode.